live. Mom, we're live. You're on. What are you doing? Oh, no. Hello, everyone.
So, I forgot the whole reason we have the show is to sell cookbooks. Hello.
Hi, guys.
Today we are making pumpkin bars, and we are talking about if you don't do this one thing, you will never ever save money and get out of debt. So that is what we are talking about today. And then I'm going to make pumpkin bars on page 293 in our volume 2 right here. Pumpkin bars. Okay, right there. Volume 2. Now, volume 2 is the companion adult volume 1. They are separate cookbooks, totally new recipes, so you can use one without the other, but they go together if you want to, okay? And for those of you who have volume 2 with the red cover, just ignore that cover. It's the same book. People were just getting confused, so we got a new cover. All right, page 293 is what we are in today. Now, and if you guys need gluten-free, we have these in stock. Volume 1 and 2 are pre-orders, 35% off. Gluten-free, though, we have in stock. So if you need that, just make a separate order for that. And I can ship that out right away. Otherwise, everything will go together. Diabetic Cookbook. Now, hello, sir. Did you want to say hello to everyone? Hello. Okay, so today we're making the pumpkin bars, but we kind of had a problem. So Mike and I had to go to Billings today to pay for the books to come. And I sent Mom to the store and she failed me.
What?
What else is new?
She totally failed me. So normally what you get is 1 can of the small, it's half of this can of pumpkin. But they didn't have any today.
They had nothing but this.
None. So what Mom got was easy pumpkin pie mix. Okay. So what?
Were you going to tell them what the difference is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So when you use the pumpkin pie mix, this is the already pre-made pie mix. So on the back here, if you look at the ingredients, it says pumpkin, water, sugar, salt, spices, dextrose, and natural flavors. So what they've done is they put the pie mix in here without the milk and the eggs, and you just dump this in with your milk and eggs.
Yeah, it has all the spices and sugar.
Yeah, but don't be fooled, because this big one does not equal 2 cans of pumpkin because it has all the other stuff in it, and it has more liquid, okay? Now, if you're going to use this for something like pumpkin bars or pumpkin bread, because it has the extra water in it, it's going to take probably about double the time to cook, okay? When I made the made-for-TV version that's already done, it took twice as long to cook. It took an hour instead of 30 minutes, okay? So just keep that in mind. But what you really want is just the regular pumpkin if you can find that. But if you can't, then we're telling you how to substitute, okay? I don't know. Is there a pumpkin shortage or something going on that I don't know about?
Also, when we tasted it, we felt it didn't have quite enough maybe cinnamon or sugar. So you can adjust that a little bit if you want to and add a few more spices or a little bit more sugar.
Okay, that's Mom's version. Tara's version is when we tasted this, it was nasty. So, but I would say if you're going to be making a pumpkin pie, do not use this easy pumpkin pie mix.
I've never used it. Yeah, I never use it.
And so because that's all we had.
Yeah, we had to make do. But you could doctor it. That's what I'm saying.
So that's what I'm going to show you. So we didn't like the taste. So I'm adding more cinnamon because it really didn't taste that great. So this would be the pumpkin spice mix if you're using just the pumpkin. Okay, and then we got our eggs. And my eggs were frozen.
And
when I
notice
would
she's
get them out of
putting the
fridge.
eggshells in the can and not laying them on the table because that helps with cleanup.
Yes,
Did you not just crack half the shell?
I did not.
Oh, okay. Looks like you did.
No, I did not crack half the shell in there.
All right.
All right, and then I added a little bit extra sugar because it didn't taste like it had enough sugar either. All right, now, normally you would go ahead and mix all of this up, but just to save time because it is really noisy live, I'm just gonna mix it all together, okay? So don't freak out. And then you're gonna put in your cake mix. Now, you can use a white, it calls for yellow, but you can use white, you could use spice. You could use chocolate. You could have pumpkin, they put chocolate chips in pumpkin bread.
I guess they do, yeah.
So that would be really probably pretty yummy too. I'm inventing recipes as I'm just standing here.
Your mind is just amazing.
Oh,
just
my
amazing.
goodness. Oh,
Totally
we forgot the oil. Except my mind is not so amazing that I forgot the oil.
Do you remember how to cook?
Okay.
Or what
So,
you're doing?
Dave, are you ready for volume control? All right, here we go. All right. Now, you could probably go another, minute or so if you want, but just to make it easy. Then you're going to take your 9x13 pan and you're going to spray it. And then you're just going to pour it all in, just like so. And then you're going to throw it in the oven and bake it. Now, like I said, if you use the pumpkin pie mix, it's going to have to cook for probably double the time. For me, it was an hour. If you're using regular pumpkin, it'll take about 30 minutes. And then put this in the oven, let it bake. And then you have pumpkin bars, okay? Then you just take a can of cream cheese frosting. If you want to make homemade cream cheese frosting, you can. You can leave the frosting off and just have a pumpkin bread. You could frost it with chocolate frosting and have chocolate pumpkin bread like you would put chocolate chips in there. You could put chocolate chips in this. You could put raisins. You could put cranberries. You could put any nuts that you want. Pecans, walnuts, probably not almonds, but pecans and walnuts would be really good.
We have the pumpkin roll in, I think, volume 1.
Yeah.
And it's got a cream cheese filling. You could spread that on top of this.
Yeah. Well, that's all it is cream cheese frosting, isn't it?
Pretty much.
That's what I thought.
It's just powdered sugar and cream cheese kind of mixed together.
And if you need an easy cream cheese recipe, all you do is just take a block of cream cheese and add about 1 or 2 tablespoons of milk with a little bit of vanilla and powdered sugar to make a frosting consistency, a couple of cups, and there you go.
Nuts would be so good sprinkled on top of that.
Yes, but, well, never mind. I can't say what I was going to say because that would be vulgar. Okay.
So we had a question.
All right. And there is your pumpkin bars. Okay. Here you go, Mom. Have a sample.
Want to sample it?
Don't you like pumpkin bread?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's really good.
Oh my goodness, you're acting surprised. Why are you acting surprised?
Okay,
Of course
yeah.
it's good.
Because you were talking about how awful it was.
Because I think in this one.
Why did I say it was awful?
Well, you said how awful the mix was.
With
Well, the
can.
mix is bad, but when you get it all mixed
When you
together,
doctor it up. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
there you go. Start cutting pieces. Enjoy, it's your dinner because I forgot to make dinner. All right, so Dining on a Dime, Volume 2, page 293, right there. People say they don't have time to cook. Guys, that took me, 5 minutes to make a homemade pumpkin bars. Super quick, super easy. 35% off right now. Jack, can you bring me my computer so I can answer questions? All right, so.
One person did ask, do you freeze eggs with the shell?
Mm-mm.
Did you mention that?
No,
No.
you don't freeze eggs with the shell. My refrigerator is from Satan.
Oh my goodness.
And now it's freezing everything. My lettuce is frozen. My eggs are frozen. Everything keeps getting frozen. I can't get the temperature adjusted to do anything. So it was just my freezer. No, do not freeze eggs in the shell.
Mm-mm.
And Cindy suggested if you can't find pumpkin, you could try using cooked and pureed butternut squash.
Oh, yeah, that would
Yeah.
probably be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Butternut squash, she said, if you can't find pumpkin. You can always, buy pie pumpkins and roast them yourself. All you do is lop them in half, take out the seeds. We have how to roast pumpkins in Dining Volume 1. Just turn them upside down on a tray and roast them at 350 degrees for about an hour, and then just scoop out the flesh. But if you use homemade pumpkin, it has a lot more liquid than canned pumpkin. So you have to be careful, and you might reduce your liquid by probably a third to a half. It kind of depends on the pumpkin. Some pumpkins are juicier than other pumpkins, but pie pumpkins should all be about the same, but
Yeah.
you never know. So,
Mhm.
All right. Yes, next year.
Sorry, I was laughing at some other comments, but there is a little bit more discussion on the eggs. There is some sort of way that you recommended to freeze eggs if you needed.
So you can freeze eggs, and we have it in Dining Volume 1. And the best way to do it is separate the eggs from the yolk and add a little bit of salt, and then you can whip them up and freeze them that way if you want, in however many egg portions you want.
Now,
It's
cooked
kind of a
eggs,
pain.
if you just freeze cooked eggs, they get rubbery.
No, you can't freeze cooked eggs. Yeah.
No. So they get real rubbery.
Yeah. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
It's kind of gross.
You can eggs is one of those things that you can do, but I don't do it often.
And if you guys are wondering on what freezes and what doesn't freeze, we have it on page something in Volume 1. Okay, freezer guide. Right there. Page 23 is the freezer guide. And right here is the second half of it. Okay.
It tells you what you can't freeze.
And then right here is freezer tips. And then more freezer tips. And then we go into the lunch and snack ideas.
When we wrote this cookbook, there had been no new cookbook for a long time on the market, like Betty Crocker or those Pillsbury cookbooks that had basic cooking and basic tips. So when we wrote Dining the first time, we tried to think of all the types of things, if you were learning to cook from scratch, that you needed to know about different things, for cooking. And we put a lot of those different lists and charts in there. So.
Yep. 35% off now, livingonadime.com. So hold on just a second. So for you guys who pre-ordered, there is a delay. We said September 15th. We have no books. I'm sorry. There are no books here. Because of that thing going around, only half the boats are shipping right now, and ours was delayed. Should be around October 25th is when we should be getting them and getting them shipped out. So I'm really sorry for the delay. It's absolutely beyond our control. Mike and I went up today to pay for them. We found out they're headed to Colorado. So hopefully we can get that changed before they get on the boat. Otherwise, we're going to be making a trip to Colorado and hollering at our old neighbors to help us load a U-Haul.
It was good that we caught it 4 days ahead of time.
They're not on the boat yet. They're just headed that direction. So hopefully they can change the manifest. So yes, dear.
Oh, I don't remember what I was saying. Lisette said, I made your pancakes this morning so easy and I didn't have to go out for breakfast.
Ooh,
Way to
very
go.
good.
Yes.
Lisette made our pancakes and she didn't go out for breakfast.
Very good.
I did not realize how many people go out for breakfast.
Yeah, a lot do.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
Jack and Mike, come here. We got to sing happy birthday real quick before we get into our one thing you have to do if you want to save money. You're not going to save money if you don't do this. Mom and I are going to talk about that today. Okay, so Norma is celebrating the 41st anniversary of her 25th birthday on a couple of days ago. So if she's celebrating her 41st anniversary of her 25th birthday, what does that mean?
That means that they're.
Every year
Oh.
she's still 25, like Pam.
So what does that mean?
Oh.
So how old is Norma? This is a homeschool moment.
66. Yes, yes, very
No, she's
good.
really 25.
Yeah, she's 25.
She's not 66, she's 25 because it's the 41st anniversary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Norma. Happy birthday to you.
Woo! Yay!
All right. Happy birthday,
Way
Norma.
to go, Norma.
Good
You're
job.
a gal after my own heart.
Good job hanging in there 41 years.
Ah.
Oh my. Okay. Do you have questions, dear?
Oh, should I?
Oh yeah. Let Mom tell her thank you real quick.
Margaret, I have to thank you. Margaret sent me a card with a little something in it, but would you guys look at this cute card? She makes the most gorgeous cards I've ever seen. And quilters, look at the little quilt pattern on there. I thought this was so cute.
Yes.
So
She
thank
always
you,
sends the
Margaret.
cutest stuff.
She does. I just love it. Thank you.
There's a Courtney comment on Facebook you want to read.
Uh-oh. Except I'm not there yet. I'm having an issue here. Okay. All right. Any comments, dear, while we get going? Okay. I take it no?
Oh, well, Courtney.
Courtney, I have to say thank you. We took your advice and sold our house in an expensive city and moved across the state where it was cheaper, housing and taxes. It's amazing the amount of money we have saved already, and it's been 4 months. I never thought of that until watching you guys. Just felt stuck. Very good. That's
yeah.
great. That is great.
A lot of people
So-
are afraid to move to someplace cheaper, because they're afraid
Yeah.
to leave their friends,
Yep.
their family, and things like that. But sometimes you have to do it just to.
Yeah.
It's not like it's forever either, because if you get things
No.
under control, you could always move back in like 5 years or something like
Yeah.
that.
Jonathan in Florida says,
Hi,
is
Jonathan.
celebrating nursing school assignments are all turned in. Done.
Yay!
Way to go, Jonathan!
Good job.
Yeah.
We've been rooting for you for 2
Yeah, for
years.
quite a while now.
Wow.
So that is good.
And Lisa said she had a heart attack, but she's back in the hospital. I'm so sorry, Lisa.
Oh, wow.
We are sorry about that. Oh, Kimberly said the deer got all her pumpkins. Those little turds. Oh my
Deer?
goodness.
A lot of people asking about the oven and refrigerator. Like, did you figure out about the oven noise? We didn't yet.
So I think the oven noise. Okay, so first of all, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on the kitchen because we shot a video Monday. And my cameraman was not paying attention. And I had a huge chunk of hair sticking out the side of my head.
She looked like an alien or something.
I looked like I'd grown a horn out of the side of my head.
Your cameraman needs LASIK.
So after shooting for an hour and a half, I was too worn out to reshoot it. So we're going to reshoot it again tomorrow. But Friday, I'm doing a tour of my kitchen because you guys can't get the full perspective of my kitchen. And I've never actually showed you my kitchen yet in this house. Not really. So the stove, I think, is just the way it is. I think that's just the way it's made. And the refrigerator, it's making a really bad rattling noise and it's freezing everything. I have the temperature turned up, so it shouldn't, but
Turned up or down?
up, because down would freeze.
Oh.
So it shouldn't be freezing anything. It's at 39. So I don't know what to do. So we're just waiting for Mom to, well, we hope get moved. Mom may or may not be moving in 2 weeks now. Yeah. And
Oh, thanks.
no, I just
Oh, thanks. You guys saw the way she said that.
I was thinking
the
about
thought of
something
being
else
stuck-
that I'm not going to say
Oh.
because I don't want to get in trouble. But Mom may or may not be moving in 2 weeks. And so if she gets moved, we're just waiting to buy her a new refrigerator. We're going to take the refrigerator from her house, probably, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, yeah, so that's where we're at with all of that. But I'm going to do a video, so be watching on Friday for my Why I Hate My Kitchen video that's coming up. So, all right. Any questions, dear?
Ellen says you forgot to put tonight's bars in the oven.
No, I can't put them in the oven. I can't. So Ellen said I forgot to put the bars in the oven. No, I can't turn on my oven for the show. So the oven makes this really weird noise the entire time it runs. And then like 20 minutes after it's done running for cooling down. And it's the most obnoxious thing
It
you've ever
interferes
heard.
with the show
So-
then. So that's part of the reason she's considering getting something different for an oven then.
So Stephanie says, are you sure your house isn't built on an old cemetery like in the Poltergeist movie? That's so hilarious. They said that about our last house. It's so funny.
What's the common denominator?
Yeah, what's the common denominator, Mike says?
It's Mike.
It's Mike, yeah.
Can you make the pumpkin bars in a crock pot? My oven is out of service. I doubt it. I mean, maybe you could, if you could make a cake in your crock pot, I guess
Yeah,
you could.
maybe
Look up
could.
just look up how to make a cake in a crock pot. And if you can do that, then yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think you probably would because I've seen them cook cakes on the stovetop. So I don't know why you couldn't do it in the crock pot, but
Amanda, hey y'all, today's my birthday. Great present getting to watch y'all live.
happy birthday!
Cheryl has a birthday on Saturday.
Oh,
Yay!
wow. We got
All
a
right.
lot of September babies.
So we started getting into comments and we didn't start talking about the one thing you have to do if you want to save money. So Mom and I have been talking about this all week and she's like, well, we need to do a show about this. So I said, okay, we'll do a show about this. It's kind of a pet peeve of both of ours.
But you need to start it because I can't.
Because you can start.
I can't remember. My brain is gone tonight.
So we had this whole 2-hour discussion about this yesterday. And as Mike and I are in Billings today, Mom was like, what are we talking about on the show tonight?
And I still can't remember.
Okay, so here's the thing. We have noticed a really big problem with our society today. And this is a problem, I think, clear across the whole world because I've seen people comment stuff like this in Australia and England, Canada, all over the place. I think it's just a worldwide mental issue with the entire world.
Mhm.
I really think it
A
is.
way of thinking.
Yeah.
The entire world thinks this way.
And here's what it is. If you are going to save money, it is going to take some work on your part. Did we hear a collective gasp? Okay, one more time. Wait a minute. We weren't coordinated. Hold on. If you're going to save money, it is going to take some work. Hold on. Cue collective gasp. Very good.
Don't get a job doing that, guys. You'll never make it.
So here's the thing. Mom and I have been noticing person after person after person. We got a comment today talking about what today's show was, and it was, well, thrift stores smell. So you should just earn more money and buy something that is of higher quality and not mess with all that. Okay, that kind of thinking is why you are in debt and you aren't saving money. It is absolutely absurd if you are earning $20 an hour to work harder and save money and go buy a high quality shirt. So let's say you spend $50 for a shirt because it's high quality. And you go to the thrift store and that same shirt is for $1.99, which is what we find all the time. Why in the world should you work 3 hours versus what? 10 minutes, 6 to 10 minutes, 6 minutes, 5 minutes? Why should you work 3 hours versus 5 minutes for the same exact shirt just because of the store you bought it in?
Well, and two, they say, well, it'll last longer.
It
Well,
doesn't.
Yeah, but if you pay $50 for a shirt and you buy one for $2, you could buy 25 more shirts. They could wear out. You could wear out 25 shirts before you'd even get near that one.
And if it made it to the thrift store in good enough condition for you to buy it at the thrift store,
yeah,
it's going to last you quite a while.
And if it's good quality, it should be lasting for a while. And you get the good quality shirts at the thrift store.
So what happens with that? People say, well, it smells. Okay, yeah, thrift stores smell, but throw it in the washer. That's not gonna hurt anything at all. The other one, I don't have time to shop at the thrift store. That is a bunch of hooey.
What's the difference
Sorry.
shopping at a thrift store or a regular store? You have to look at either place.
Either place,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to
Yeah.
look for the clothes. You're not gonna find the
But
same
you see
clothes.
a pattern here? It's all excuses and reasons why I can't. Instead of thinking how can I do it?
Yeah.
Or,
And I've been spending a lot of time since we moved looking on Facebook Marketplace, trying to find new furniture. Right now, I'm trying to find a kitchen table. And I go on there every 15 or 20 minutes and I scroll through all the new posts to see what they have for furniture. And then if they have it and I need to go get it, I tell Mike, all right, let's grab the pickup and go get it. But you would not believe person after person after person. Well, do you deliver?
the free stuff. They want
The free stuff.
they want.
And there's like one person had firewood on there and they said, free firewood. You come pick it up. It's over here. They had like 2 messages. Well, would you deliver? Well, take your car if you don't
If
have
you
a
have to do
pickup.
5-10 loads and haul it in your car.
Go haul it.
But and two people
But people
say,
don't want to do the work.
yeah, and they say, oh, Tara's so lucky. She finds all these good things. She works hard at
There's
this.
no luck about it.
It takes time and she works hard. They say, well, I can never find anything. You have to spend time working at this stuff and looking for this stuff.
Did you see Music Man's comment?
No, what
He
did
said,
we
I have a
say?
washing machine. That gets the thrift store smell out every time.
It does.
Yes, yeah.
What is any different than having stinky teenage boys and thrift store clothes? I wouldn't go out and throw my boys' clothes away just because they're stinky.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't even make sense. Although it's very interesting because the Bible is really specific that in the end times, people are going to be deceived. And we see this every
And I
single
think
day.
that's what it's a mentality that has been taught or
Yeah.
something that people just believe in, and they
Yeah.
come up with all these different excuses and everything.
So we have a few on here already.
Oh dear.
Genevieve says, what about if somebody has no car? That's still not the person's responsibility for delivering it. Now, it's one thing if you say, do you deliver? I would be happy to pay you to deliver it for me. Like when we went and got a piece of furniture that I haven't shown you yet, that is the cutest little thing, and I really wanted it. I was going over to the people's place after church. It was right by where we were trying church, and our pickup broke down. So Dave came over and we drove over there to look at it, and I said, I'm really sorry. I said, let me see if we can stuff it in the back of our car. And it probably could have fit in the back of our car. And he said, let me just throw it in the back of my pickup and I'll take it for you. And I said, okay. And I gave him $20 extra for taking the time to drive over there. It's not the seller's responsibility for you transporting the goods. So figure out a way to do it. Could you hire an Uber? Could you hire a taxi?
Could you call a friend,
Family member.
Sometimes like Home Depot and those places will rent out trucks for minimum amount, not very much, an hour. They'll rent the trucks for an hour or two if you need to.
In smaller pieces, can you just take it on the bus with you?
Yeah.
You can take a nightstand or something.
Take a little bit at a time. Mike they needed wood chips. He found wood chips alongside the road, and he just had his car, and he would just pile some in the trunk every day as he'd go back and forth to work and things. So you need to find a way. See, what's happening is people are wanting other people to figure this stuff out for them and do the work for them. And you have to be responsible. We've stopped being responsible for our own needs and our own things that need to be done. Now, sometimes you have to ask for help. There are times. But what's happened, it used to be that you'd ask for help only when absolutely necessary. You couldn't think of any way whatsoever to do something, and you tried your hardest. Now it's the other way around. It's like you ask for help and people to do stuff before you've even tried to do anything on your own, to do it, figure it out or do it.
And Genevieve says, well, what about bed bugs? Okay, I have been buying used furniture for the 30 years that I have been on my own. And let me tell you, some of it's been nasty. It has been nasty. Mike and I, when we were first married and he was earning $6 an hour, we had zero money to buy a couch. And I mean zero money to buy a couch. He had quit his job. We had moved to literally across the country, had no money, got to where we were going, and he ended up not having a job. A friend said, another friend had this couch in their garage. Did we want it? And I was like, well, not really, but we need a couch. So we got the couch. All I did was I sprayed it down with bug spray and then just cleaned it. I just took a scrub brush and some water, and I just scrubbed the whole thing down. And then I took some clean water and I scrubbed it all down and I got it all cleaned. Now, if you're that concerned about bed bugs, pull up the couch cushions and look, see, is there bug markings?
Yeah, you can see
the couch. Lift up the couch and look underneath and see if there's bug markings. If there is, don't buy it. I wouldn't buy something that had mouse droppings or bug marks in it. But I'll tell you, I have never, ever, ever, and I've probably had 10 or 15 different couches that were not the best in the whole world or used, and I've never had a bed bug issue. But if you're just really, really concerned and it looks clean and you're just really concerned about it, all you got to do is put a tarp over your couch, get a bug bomb, put it under the tarp, and let it sit under there for 24, 48 hours, and that will kill anything that's in the couch. It's better for you to spend $10, $15 on the tarp and bug bomb to get a free couch than to go spend $500 to $700 that you don't have to buy a couch.
Well, we're of the mentality that we'll just go out and charge something, because it used to be you either did without it or you would make do with something like you got at a garage sale or a thrift store. Those were the two options. You just did without it, or you did the best you can. Now we have to have something new or something that's comfortable that we think, that we're comfortable with. And we just go out and charge it then. And we're getting ourselves into lots of debt, really bad, doing that.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Okay, so then I'm trying to find the comment and I've lost it because you guys are just, oh, here it is. Cindy says, I need a lesson on thrift store shopping. I really want to learn what to look for. It's not hard. All you do is look for what you need. I mean, that's seriously. So today I need a new kitchen table. Mike and I went to Billings. They have different thrift stores than we have here. So I thought I'll run in and see if they have a kitchen table. We were in our car. And so the plan was, if I found a table, I was going to ask the store if I could borrow a screwdriver or pliers or whatever we needed to take the legs off the table. And we were going to shove it in the back seat of the car. Okay. But all I did was I ran in. I know exactly what kind of table I need. They didn't have it. So I ran out. Close.
Well, know your prices too. How much can you spend? Like, are you wanting to spend only $10 or $20 on a table?
Yep.
And you may go into a thrift store and they don't have anything. So you go to the next thrift store and you just keep part of the secret of doing thrift stores is have the price in your mind of what you want and a general idea of what you want and just hit 2 or 3 until it takes time. That's where the work comes in, where you have to work at this a little bit. And then you will eventually find what you want if you keep up like this. And you start getting, it's like anything else, the more you do it and the more you practice it and you keep doing it, you'll get the feel of it. You'll figure out what thrift stores, some are good on clothes, on having inexpensive clothes. Some thrift stores are good on furniture, and you'll just start.
And some are just trash and you just go in there once and you just stay away from them.
You stay away from. But you find one that's not that bad, and then you just, keep going and looking for things. As far as clothes go,
look for no rips.
Yeah, just
no
look.
stains.
I look for name brand clothing
Yep.
that I like. There's certain types of name brand clothing I like. So you look for those types of things. And
when you're looking for things like dishes or kitchenware, make sure it's not chipped or cracked. That kind of thing. For shoes, just see if they're in good condition. A lot of kids will outgrow their shoes before they've even worn them hardly at all. So my kids never got a brand new pair of shoes. Okay. Yes. Are you ready for the email? All right, Shayla, my YouTube comment deleter person. My kids never had any new clothes, including shoes, except for underwear. And even underwear when they were little, we just got and bleached them. And so then when they were like 8 or 9, then we started buying them new underwear. But new shoes did not hit my children's feet until they were at least 12. And that's only because I have boys. And for some reason, we just could not find shoes that would fit them. And then like my oldest is a size 14. So then you don't find size 14 at the thrift store very often. But once I bought the new shoes for the oldest, if he hadn't destroyed them, then they would be passed down to the next one. And they have proven time and time again, it does not cause foot issues for children if they wear used shoes. That's a myth.
Mm-hmm.
And all you do is just take them home. If you're worried about diseases or whatever, just spray the inside with some Lysol and throw them in the washer and wash them.
Well, even my shoes, this year was the first year I bought new shoes in years. I can't even remember the last time before this that I bought new shoes. And there's some positive things to this. First of all, I loved it because the shoes were more comfortable. They'd been worn a little bit, so that hard,
broken in.
Yeah, they were broken in and they were way more comfortable, and I could feel what they were going to be like and that type of thing. And I really liked them. But you can get new shoes. They have a lot. I found tons of brand new shoes that had never been worn. They had the tag on them, or you could see on the bottoms they'd never touched a floor or anything like that. So you can even find new shoes if you look. And if you think about it, now if you go to Walmart or different places, people try those shoes on that are hanging on the racks. They'll sit down and try the shoes on. What's the difference between somebody,
I
trying
know,
those
at the
shoes
store trying them on.
at them, and then they hang them back up on the rack for you to come by next and buy them. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's a matter of getting over phobias a little bit is what it really amounts to. And I didn't have the luxury of having the phobias. I did not have the money. I had to buy that. And I wasn't going to use credit cards. Most people don't have a problem using credit cards. And I didn't want the stress. I'd rather be stress-free not having a credit card debt than being stressed worrying, about buying the used stuff.
And Jennifer Weber says, the harder you work, the luckier you get. Yeah, I want to punch people in the nose when they say, you're so lucky. Luck has nothing to do with it.
Just hard work.
We have lived in the most rural of rural areas. I mean, we lived rural. We had to drive 70 miles to get groceries each way. Another place, we had to drive 55 miles each way to get groceries. So don't give me this excuse that it can't be done. It can be done if you want to. And I was thinking, as we were talking about this, to put it in perspective, for the first 17 or 18 years of our marriage, I spent on average $25 a year for the entire family's clothes. Put that in perspective. How many people spend $25 a year for the entire family's clothes? Why? Because I got hand-me-downs from friends and family. I got freebies. When somebody was giving stuff away, I took the freebies and I took out what I could use and then I gave away or donated the rest. I kept hand-me-downs for the kids. So when BJ was out of wearing something, then it went to David and then it went to Jack. So it has nothing to do with luck. And I'll tell you, I just want to punch people in the nose when they tell me that, because I'm like, no, I worked darn good hard to save money. Go ahead.
Never mind. I think this is off the subject a little bit, but it's like people don't want to put forth any effort for anything. I got a comment, and I don't want to offend anybody because I know a lot of you have asked this, but it was the way this gal wrote the comment and the way she said it. You know what the way she said it was really, was different. I know a lot of you have asked us if we're going to write a diabetic cookbook, and that's fine. But the way this woman said it was, said, I need you to write a diabetic cookbook because I don't want to have to take the time to mess with making the conversions myself. So you need to get a cookbook written for me. And it was the whole tone that she said and that she did it in, it's like, she wanted us to do the work because she didn't want to mess with having to do conversions. I'm sorry. She's the one that has the situation. She's the one that should do the very best to take care of it.
She's the one that's diabetic. The other person is the one that's gluten-free. The other person is the one that's vegan. The other person is allergic to eggs. When you have a specific situation to your either health or your family situation or whatever, it's your responsibility to take care of you and your family.
Not expect everybody around you to, kill themselves doing stuff for adjusting their lives for your life. You need to do the adjusting, not expecting the whole world. It's kind of like I was telling Tara, no offense to vegetarians here. This is
a complaint we get a lot.
Yeah,
that's why we're using this example.
So don't miss the point here and get hung up on, well, she doesn't like vegetarians. Don't get that in your brain. That's not what I'm talking about here. Vegetarians have a tendency to want
for
vegans, yeah, they want everybody to fix a special meal for them. They'll say, if they get invited over for dinner, a lot of them will say, well, I'm a vegetarian,
or I'm vegan,
vegan. Or they'll call the airlines and say, I need a vegan or a vegetarian meal or whatever. And I thought, okay, I got to thinking, why should they get a special meal? I don't like vegetables, but I've never called the airport and said, would you fix a meal without any vegetables in it for me? Or if somebody invites me over to their house, I don't ask them when they invite me over for dinner, well, are you going to be serving vegetables? Because I don't like vegetables. So you need to fix, food. You don't do that.
It's rude.
Yeah, that is not good. That's making people adjust and adapt to your needs. And sometimes you have to just buck up. And if you're vegetarian, you have to just figure out what you can eat off the plate and call it good.
Yeah.
I mean, I will go to my grandma was diabetic. You've heard me say this a million times before, I'm sure. And she was a serious diabetic, way overweight and everything. But I don't know, unless you were her family, nobody knew she was diabetic. She never said, well, I can't eat this, or, well, you know, I can't have dessert. She never did any of that. She always went and had meals. She would pick out from the food that was available what she could eat. If they served a dessert, she would take a little sliver of that dessert, a small portion. She would maybe go throughout the rest of the day before she was going someplace for a meal. She'd adjust her needs for that evening, you know. There's way to do that without being rude to other people or expecting other people to be responsible for your needs and adapt to your needs and stuff. So
Yeah. So did you set my brother's shoes on fire? My brother says I had new shoes once and my mom caught them on fire the first day.
They were wet. I think he got them wet or something. I put them on the wood burning stove to try to dry them so he could wear them to school. And they caught on fire. I don't know if they caught on fire. They started melting. The rubber started melting on the wood burning stove. I know.
Oh my goodness.
My poor son. Now see, this is another example. I had to hot glue the sole of his shoe almost every morning when he went to school because I couldn't afford to get him brand new shoes. So I would take the hot glue gun and I would hot glue his soles together. It would last for one day because he was like in junior high or something. He was so rough on them. And then the next morning I'd hot glue them again. These are the types of things, if you don't have the money for stuff, you have to work at, and you need to do it this way. You know, if you want to start saving money, you need to
somebody wants to know if we'd go so far as dumpster diving. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
I mean, Mike and we did a video on it. Go look it up. But we did a video on our whole entire backyard was free sod from dumpsters. Our shed at our old house, $10,000 shed or something like that was free.
Well, at one point they had construction around their home where they lived, and they had huge dumpsters full of wood and light fixtures and all this stuff that was being leftovers that was being put in the dumpster. Tara even drove the pickup over and said, after she kept digging through it, said, would you mind just throwing the stuff in the pickup? It'd be easier for us. And they did it for her. And the thing, now we don't go in a dumpster.
We don't do it if it's illegal.
Garbage, or, you know.
We ask permission if it's on private property.
Yeah.
And some people have told us no, and we're like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah. You know, it's not, we don't do this nasty stuff like that. My son worked for a furniture place and they put all this perfectly good furniture that maybe have a little crack or a little chip in the wood or something. They throw all this stuff, dining room chairs, tables, into the dumpster. And he'd ask them, say, can I take this stuff with me? And he'd get it out of the dumpster and take it home. He'd go in the dumpster at work. He'd get tons of paper, scrap paper that he could use one side of, and he'd ask permission if he could get good. I still have lots of paper that he and my brother got out of a dumpster, you know, that at different points. So yeah, you know, you can get a lot of stuff in a dumpster.
Did you see that Kay Stepala posted 2 super chats?
Oh, thanks.
Oh,
so we got a super chat and she says, ask family and friends for furniture they don't want. Yes.
Oh yeah, we
Do
interchange our furniture all the time with
yeah, and ask friends and family. So like I'll tell people and ask like at garage sales. So we hit a garage sale this weekend that was, oh my goodness.
Oh, it was
I didn't record it, and I should have
good.
recorded it. I just wasn't recording it. And I hit the jackpot for me, but the lady I found out owned apartments, and this garage sale was stuff that people leave behind, and there was no kitchen tables. And I said, do you happen to have any kitchen tables? She said, well, I have a whole bunch in my basement. I just couldn't get them out. She said, so give me your phone number and I'll call you. And she hasn't called me, and I got her phone number, so I'm going to call her. But just ask at garage sales. I ask all the time, do you have X if it's not out? If it's a moving sale, hey, I need a kitchen table. Are you getting rid of your kitchen table? And they're like, oh yeah, I'm still using it, but I'm leaving on such and so day. People will do that all the time.
It doesn't hurt to ask. And
Yeah,
And
because
you
Walla
always-
says, you know what's funny is most money is secondhand, but no one denies it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think nothing of taking cash that's been all around the store, and
Yeah,
who knows
that's
how many
nasty,
people
dirty,
touched
and
it.
stuff.
Most people don't watch
Yeah.
it either.
Yeah.
You don't
That's
go around
true.
washing your cash.
But you know,
That's your Adrian.
ask people. I went to Walmart and I said, can I have some of these empty boxes, that I needed to take home with me and stuff. But the thing is, we hear so much about saving the environment, and people are doing these really strange things to save the environment. Well, I'm not going to use plastic anymore, so they're going out and buying glass jars to replace their plastic. Well, first of all, why aren't you just using the plastic you have up until it wears out? Why are you buying more stuff that's had to be manufactured to messes up the environment? But we wouldn't be in this mess probably with the environment if more people would do the garage sales and the thrift stores. You save more doing that, than anything, the environment more that way than anything else. So
Genevieve wants to know what's wrong with the current kitchen table. We didn't bring it with us, right?
Yeah, what's wrong with the current kitchen table? I didn't bring my kitchen table with me.
they're
I
using
sold it.
one of my
Yeah, so
cutting
we're
table
just
from my sunroom.
borrowing. We're just borrowing Mom's until she moves. She's moving maybe in 2 weeks. We'll see if she gets moved in 2 weeks. And so we're just borrowing her kitchen table because I haven't found one yet.
And I have no
So,
dining room chairs, but they've got dining room chairs. So
A
Yeah.
lot of people are talking about getting very expensive couches for very little at thrift stores.
oh yeah,
In
you can
practically new condition.
get some beautiful couches and furniture. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And let's see, there was something. Oh shoot, there was something that was going. Oh yeah. Well, probably don't want to go down that trail right now. Oh brother. Okay, do you have any questions, dear, while I'm looking real quick, or?
Well, Wolf's fam also says we pay to sleep in motels and all the furniture is used by others.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Yes. So
If you
Wolf's fan
sleep
said
in a hotel or a motel, oh my goodness.
all the furniture, they don't wash the bedspreads. All the they don't go around washing the
To
furniture.
be honest, I'm more afraid to sleep in a motel than
Yeah.
to buy used furniture, really, because there's been more people in that motel than maybe
Mhm.
just one set of family using
And
furniture.
here's another thing: you may have to do without.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
Okay.
that's what I said at the beginning. You did without, or you
You
bought
have
thrift store
2
stuff.
pairs of pants. Well, you may have to wash more frequently.
Mm-hmm.
You need a sofa. Well, somebody said I sat on camping chairs. Yeah, you may have to get a $2 camping chair from a garage sale until you can find a sofa. We're borrowing Mom's kitchen table until I can find the kitchen table I want. If she moves and takes her table, then we're going to use this plastic thing until I can find it. And we found a table today at another thrift store. We stopped on the way into town. I said, well, let me stop by the other thrift store. And they had a table that might work, but it was $38, and I was going to have to completely redo the whole thing. And I was like, well, this thing's in pretty rough shape for $38 for me to have to go through and completely redo it all.
That's where you have to
10
figure the prices out and know your prices that you want to spend.
$10, maybe $20. I might go up to $20. But even for Habitat for Humanity, I'm sorry. This is another thing. Don't let your feelings get in the way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know Habitat's supposed to be a good thing and all that, but
If you-
I don't pay
But if you can't,
overpriced,
yeah, if you
even if
can't
it's for a good
if
cause.
you can't afford it too, you just, have to, maybe sometime when you have more money, you can do
Yeah.
it, but not when you can't afford
I'll
it.
just donate my money directly to them. I won't pay overpriced for them. So,
Some people are lamenting that it's illegal in their town to dumpster dive.
well, and if it's illegal
Yeah,
to dumpster
yeah,
dive, don't
then-
do it. I'm
yeah.
not telling you to do illegal things, but
Yeah.
my neighbor rented a dumpster because they were moving, and I went and he said, sure, take everything you want. I don't care. I can't take it with me. And we got
He said you have to pay less because we took.
Yeah, they pay by the pound, so they
Yeah.
paid less.
And a lot of
so-
stores want you to take stuff because they don't have to pay as much, or and the
Mhm.
dumpster won't be as full. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I do dumb things like at Joann Fabrics. They had the cardboard that the fabric is wrapped on,
Mhm.
and the bolts, and they had a bunch of those sitting back there. I asked, can I have those to use them at home for my own fabric and that type of thing? So, just when you see stuff, they said, yeah, we don't have to take it out to the dumpster then because I'm hauling it off for them and things.
Somebody asked on a sewing machine. Common Sense University says, do you recommend the sewing machine?
You know, do you
Do you have one you
recommend
like?
brand? Yeah, I like my Pfaff. Is that how you pronounce it? Phaff.
Yeah.
And I got, well, it was really odd because Tara got the cheapest one. This was years ago. And then I got the next higher priced one because I do much more sewing. Mine had less bells and whistles on it than hers. And so, but I like that brand. And the thing is, if you're getting a sewing machine and you're just using it for, say, maybe quilting, and you don't need all the decorative stitches, go with something really simple. An older machine is really we're talking a lot older machine is kind of good. If you think it's in running condition, it might even be worth it to, if you get it for cheap enough, like $10 or $20 or something, just to have somebody fix it if you think. But the simpler the machine, the better it is because it doesn't have as many things that'll break on it. Most people don't use that many different stitches unless you're in a business or you really do some kind of crafty thing like that with it. So I would get the simplest on the line of any sewing machine you buy. A lot of friends like the Brother. I've tried the Brother. It was way more complicated for me, the Brother machine. And it's a fine machine, but it was a lot harder for me to, more things to go wrong on it is what I'm trying to say. That's with any appliance you buy, whether it's a sewing machine, a refrigerator, a stove. I always get the one that has the least things on it and for what I need. And, usually it's just the minimum that I need to use it for. And then I don't have as many things go wrong or know that it's going to break down and that type of thing. So I hope that
So
answers.
Frankie said, I was at Kroger today and randomly was thinking, I hope Tara figured out that stove before it goes off the back deck.
That's good, Frankie.
I'm telling you,
She was almost there. She was
and a
almost
chainsaw
there.
is going to my kitchen. A hammer and a chainsaw is going to be in my kitchen. I'm telling you.
Oh,
Well,
dear.
somebody else made a chainsaw joke earlier.
Oh my goodness. It's not even funny how frustrating it is to me. Jennifer says, whoa, do without. That's a hard concept for a consumer-driven society.
Yeah, we just have no idea on how to do without or make do. Sometimes that's another part of how we don't want to work as much at saving money. If I don't have the money to buy something, I will look around my house and think, what can I do to replace this or use instead of this? And I have to come up with some really imaginative things. For example, when I was moving, I don't want to spend a ton of money on packing tape. It can get expensive, and I was moving. I didn't want to buy a whole bunch of packing tape. So I thought, what do you use in place of it? I had a couple of old raggedy sheets that were in the rag box, and I tore those strips off those sheets, and I would tie the box up with those strips from the sheets. I used, for my whole move, I used a half a roll of packing tape, and that was all that I used for my whole move, which I thought was pretty good, considering I moved a whole household that I'd been in for 20 years. I didn't think that was too bad. So you look around and see, what can I do instead of this? And it's funny because you'd be amazed. You say, well, I'm not creative, or I can't think. The more you start using that part of your brain, you'd be surprised how you start getting smarter and smarter to figure out a lot of this stuff. If you have a hard, like I've got a folding chair. I don't have any chairs down in the basement right now except one, but the boys will come down, or Tara will come down, or somebody come down and sit. So I've got this metal folding chair, and I've got an old fur coat over some, put a blanket on the seat and the old fur coat across it, and it's soft. And so that's what I'm using now for a chair for them to sit on. Now, it's not a permanent thing, but I sit and think, what can I do? Can I just take this ugly chair and put a cushion on it, make a cushion for it or something? So.
Yep. let's see. Deborah, I have a hard time finding stuff on Facebook Marketplace. Any advice? Your Facebook Marketplace may not be the place for you to find stuff. So Facebook Marketplace, ask friends and family, thrift stores, garage sales. Those are all the main ones. Craigslist. Those are all the main places that I have found. You just have to keep looking at the different places where you live. When we lived in no man's land in Idaho, it was garage sales. There were literally no thrift stores, none. Facebook didn't even, the internet didn't even exist back then. Mm-hmm. So we'd had to do the garage sales, or we did friends and family.
We lived in Springfield. We would go to auctions. Mm-hmm. They'd have farm auctions and sell off households of stuff, and you could get stuff for very, very inexpensive at some auctions and things.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to find
an exchange. Get a group together. If you're a young married and you know several other young marrieds who have a lot of little kids and things like that, get an exchange group together so that you swap clothes with each other. You know, maybe you need one size of something or different types of things. You can do stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. So let me see. Do you have something, dear? I mean, I have another one that I can answer real quick, but.
Oh, I forgot who it was, but somebody had said that where was it? My adult married friend will buy her once because she knows her mom, who is 76, will pay her bills. That happens a lot.
Yeah. So Mike said, so her adult married friend buys her once because she knows that her mom, her 76-year-old mom, will pay her bills. That is just wrong. I mean, come on, people. Have a little bit of self-respect. My goodness.
And respect for your parents, too.
That is ridiculous. That kind of thing makes me so mad. I mean, it's one thing if grandma or mom wants to buy a gift now and then, but if you're buying a Gucci purse and mom is paying your electric bill, you need to buck up and get some self-respect. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of people don't have self-confidence or self-esteem, because they have no self-respect, you know, because they do things like that and everything. So.
Was that said something? It sounds like your hair. She thought your hair was like something wasn't right.
Oh, now is my hair again?
On the left side.
Oh, it's just your ponytail. She's just got her hair in a ponytail, is what it is.
No, but there's a little piece that's kind of.
Oh, great! Now I have hair sticking out again.
No, it looks fine. I would have told you if you were looking at it.
There's a little rooster on
Okay,
that.
never mind. Here. Oh my goodness! Hello.
There you go. Right.
Okay, now am I refluffed?
You're fluffed fine.
Oh, I give up. Okay, now,
and you know, I had a friend one time, and she had quite a bit of money. Is this way off the subject? Should I know?
I have no idea where you're going with this. I don't know.
It's along with having the parents pay, you know, for stuff, the needs when you.
Oh. Yeah.
And so I had this friend that she had plenty of money. She was, as a matter of fact, she had quite a bit of money, but she would take, and if her car light wasn't working or her refrigerator would conk out, she would tell one of her friends that had a husband or something, and they would feel sorry for her, and he'd come over and spend like 6 hours working.
We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars here. We're not talking. She had plenty.
Yeah, she had a lot of money. And so he would come over and fix her car, spend 6 hours or something fixing a car, or the refrigerator or the air conditioner or something like that, because she didn't want to pay handyman to do any of the necessary things around her home or anything. And then the next day she'd go out and have a pedicure, a manicure, have her hair done, and then go shopping and buy new clothes, you know, and spend the same amount it would have cost to have that vehicle fixed up. That is so wrong, because she manipulated people into feeling sorry for her. Mm-hmm. So she would take and have them, you know, do this all the time when she had the money to pay for it. And that's just, those things are just very, very wrong if you're doing that, you know, for different things. So
it's just taking advantage of people.
It is. It really is.
But yes, dear.
Oh no, I'm just clearing my throat.
I thought that was the I have something to say throat clear.
No, but you have a couple people saying, oh, they love your hair. And in fact, Anne says, Tara, she says you look gorgeous no matter what. But somebody else said, Cowgirl Jones, I was looking up gorgeous because I remember that was part of it. Cowgirl Jones said, your hair is gorgeous and fluffy.
It
Thank
is.
you.
It's really
It is.
pretty. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Thank you. Let's see. So somebody said, how do you keep, oh dear. Okay, I don't know if we want to go down this trail or not. How do you keep from being discouraged in this world today? So, okay. So first of all, from a money saving point, stop looking at what other people have and start appreciating what you have. So if you're used to going to Starbucks and getting your coffee every day and you think, well, I don't have the money and I don't want to make my coffee at home. Stop feeling sorry for yourself and looking at those people in the Starbucks line and saying, you know what? They're in hock up to their eyeballs. They're driving a super fancy car. They have so much debt and they're so stressed out that they can't even make themselves a cup of coffee at home because they're so stressed out because they have to work so much to pay for that. Or on the other end, the other day, and first of all, before I get all the, well, you're just being judgmental, you don't know their situation. I guarantee you, if I went up to every one of those 18 cars in line, and it's no joke, there's 18 cars in line.
We've counted them
We
before.
have counted them. That I guarantee you, I would not find more than 2 people who actually were completely debt-free and had the retirement all gone and set up for themselves that were in that Starbucks. I guarantee you there would not be 2 people. And then you have the other end of the spectrum where the other day we saw these ladies driving a beater car, and that car couldn't have cost more than $200. I don't even know how it was sitting in the Starbucks line. And they're spending $10, $15 at Starbucks. And yet they don't even have a decent car to drive. And I get it. I totally understand. Maybe somebody gave them a gift card and that's their special treat. I'm not talking about that.
Those are the exceptions to the rule most of the time. Yeah, you guys bring out the exceptions.
Yeah.
It's we're talking about the other 85-90% of.
Well, the exceptions are appealing to emotions.
Yeah.
Stop looking at those people and saying, oh, woe is me. Instead, start thinking, wait a minute, I've got my act together and I'm making my coffee at home so that I don't have to work let's see, what did we figure? A month? I think we figured work a month for the typical Starbucks addiction out of a year. Seriously, is it worth working a year to pay for Starbucks?
Well, and 2, I don't know what she meant about discouraged, how to keep from being discouraged, but the main thing is you've got to be grateful for what you do have. You know, I don't have a house right now, and I could get very discouraged at the fact that I don't have a house. But instead, I'm thinking, I am so grateful that I've got a nice little place downstairs that I'm staying in at Tara's. I've got kids that care about me, that both my kids would be more than willing to have me stay with them. Instead of, I could be wallowing and think, well, this is no fair. I don't have a house. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get you've got to stop thinking, be grateful for the things you do have. I guess I've lived in other countries before and been to other places, and oh my goodness, most Americans particularly, we have so much that even our very lowest and poor people have more than a lot of people have, you know. And so if you have a computer that you're even watching us on, or a place to go, like a library to use a computer, you're blessed. You have more than so many people. And so just start thinking, looking at what you have, the more grateful you become with what you have, I really think God starts blessing us more if we start being grateful for this stuff, it's kind of like my kids. Okay, I take and I bought them, say, this little toy, and they'll look at that and they'll say, well, I didn't really want that, or that's not what I want, or why can't I have the cool toy that the neighbor had? And every time I give them a little something, they would say that to me. Well, after a while, I'm thinking, you don't appreciate what I have given you. And so until you start appreciating that a little bit, I'm not going to give you anything more, let alone give you something even better. You need to learn to appreciate the little stuff that God has given you, and he's going to start blessing you. He wants to see, are you doing the best you can with what he does give you? Are you grateful for it? Are you using it wisely? Once you do that, then he'll just keep blessing you a little bit more and a little bit more. And you'll be amazed. You'll just see his blessings in so many different ways. So how can you be discouraged when you know God is doing that for you?
Well, but see, I think that's part of the problem. If you aren't a Christian and you don't have Jesus living in you, I don't think you're going to truly appreciate those kinds of things, and you're going to get more discouraged and that kind of thing. And so when you're watching the news, which is the next tip, stop watching the news and listening to Facebook. I get all this baloney about this thing going around right now, and I block it. When it comes up on Facebook, I block it. I don't watch it. And there are things that you can do in this world. So like if you go out and vote and you have done your best to vote and the right person didn't get in office, well, then what do? You just move on with life and you hang on for the ride. I mean, really, is this something that you can actually change? If it's not something that you can actually change, stop worrying about it. And most of all, stop reading the news and Facebook and all that other junk.
And you can tell,
listening to
you
it.
can tell what bothers you, because after like 3 to 5 minutes, you start getting this feeling upon you. And if you do that and you keep watching it, then that's your fault. You need to say, if I read something and it starts feeling not good, I stop reading right then, because I'm just putting myself in a bad place to feed that discouragement or feed whatever it is. You can feel in your gut when it's coming on. So you just change over to something else. You change the channel, you watch something else on YouTube that's more uplifting. That's another thing where the work comes in. You know, we keep talking about people don't want to work at anything. Well, I'm just discouraged, so I'm just going to sit here and be discouraged. No, you have to work at changing, get up. If some people, if they take a walk, they feel better. Whatever it does that makes you feel better, read your Bible. If you're not a Christian, you've got to find something that's going to pull you out of that. Don't allow yourself to just go have a pity party or keep becoming more and more discouraged. You know, this is life, and you've got to learn to work with it and go with the flow and do the best you can in the circumstances you're. What does discouragement get you? What does it do to improve your lot in life? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You're looking like, what did I say or do?
No, I'm just listening.
Oh, you know, and so why even give into it, or why pay attention to it? You know, find something and have something ready. Like maybe there's a certain book you like to read and you get one. Well, okay, perfect example. When my husband left, it was like 1 or 2 New Year's Day after he'd left, I didn't have a penny to my name. Nothing. I was so deep in debt from the debt he'd left us in. It was just a nightmare. I didn't even know what to do. And I woke up New Year's Day so discouraged. And I sat there and I thought, I have every right. And to look at me, I did have every right to have a good pity party and feel sorry for myself. And I could feel it coming on. The kids were still sleeping. I checked out a book, or got a book from the library. I think it was If Life's a Bowl of Cherries, Why Am I Always in the Pits? By Irma Bombach. And she's a comedian. She was really funny. And I was sitting there wanting to feel sorry for myself. And I thought, I can't do this. And I picked up that book and started reading it. And it was so funny. I couldn't stop laughing. And within 10 minutes, the pity party was gone, the discouragement was gone, and I was just laughing my head off. Now, after that point, I know to keep something like that and to make myself, sometimes you have to force yourself to do it too. Go read it. Or to find a comedian. I find comedians on YouTube that are just a crack up to me. And the minute I feel it coming on, I go and check that out. So find something to do to pull. Don't just sit there and wallow. You've got to work at these things. All this stuff is work. And nobody wants to work anymore, whether it's that or anything else.
Well, and one thing, back to the media thing, people don't realize how much that really affects things. And I saw a cartoon, not a cartoon, but a meme the other day that was an Amish person and a normal person. I don't know, what do you call a non-Amish English person?
English.
Well, I mean, but
Englisher.
But if people don't know about the Amish, then they don't know that the Amish call non-Amish English. So that's why I was. So anyway, there was an Amish person and a non-Amish person standing there, and and the non-Amish person said to the Amish person, "Well, why hasn't that thing that's been going around affected you guys?" And he said, "Because we don't have the media and we don't watch TV." And it's true. I guarantee you, if it wasn't for the media, nobody would have an issue with that thing going around right now. They wouldn't. And you just send me all the hate mail you want. But it's proven, if it was really that big of a health risk, my whole point of this is put things in perspective. That whole thing going around, if it was actually that bad of a problem, why have they not removed every cookie, ding dong, Twinkie, soda, everything from the store that has sugars in it? Because diabetes, it kills just as many. Heart attacks from being overweight and not taking care of yourself, just as much. So if it was actually a health issue, all that stuff would be gone. And you have to keep things in perspective. Now, for us, because we are Christians, this is not where I planned on going with this, but because we are Christians, we know that this is a spiritual battle that's going on. This has absolutely nothing to do with that thing going around. Nothing to do with that. It is a spiritual battle between good and evil that is happening in the world today. But if you're not a Christian, there's nothing I can do for you because you're not going to see it from that perspective. But as Christians, we're actually talking to Christians right now. As Christians, you have to remember that and keep the perspective on that. If you're not a Christian, you have to remember, wait a minute, we're so worried about that thing going around, but we're not worried about people who are overweight, and we're not forcing them to stop eating so much.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
You know, I mean, seriously, think about this. And so you have to keep perspective. And the best way to keep perspective is to turn off the news for everybody. You know, it really is. So.
And part of it too, years and years ago, we didn't get live TV from all over the world or news from all over the world. You only had your one community. And so even though bad things still happened in that community somewhat, it was a small amount. Now you're watching horrible news from all kinds of countries all over the world, from, just everything. You're getting all the garbage from everywhere dumped on you. And I don't think people can handle that much. So you've got to cut out as much of that as you can, because it's just not good for your mind and your spirit or anything,
Yeah. And okay, so let me just say right now, there are some people that, well, I've had so-and-so die, or my family member has that thing going around. Listen, I'm not discounting. I understand some people have died, and I'm really sorry. I truly am. But that's a part of life. And that may sound harsh, but we don't throw the country into a tither with people who are dying from diabetes or heart attacks.
I've had people.
Or drunk driving. We haven't closed all the bars.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten rid of all the alcohol. And you can say, oh, you're just being aggressive. You know what? You may need to wake up and smell the roses, honey. I'm sorry. but you really need to get some perspective. And that is the problem that people are having nowadays, is there is no perspective. And I've had that thing going around. My whole entire family got it last year. Why in the world should I be required to go get that thing to prevent that thing that's been going around when I have natural immunity? That is absurd. It goes against all science for the last 100 years. And now all of a sudden, we're supposed to be going and getting that thing for that thing going around because they're just telling us to. It doesn't even make sense.
Well,
so just keep it in perspective.
What's interesting is the Bible says in the end times, people aren't going to make sense. They're going to have all kinds of stuff. It's not going to make logical sense,
No.
the stuff that's happening. So,
But I can also say, sorry, I used to work in television, and I've said this millions of times before, but the job of the news is to scare you so you watch their ads. And news and Facebook particularly, they really feed on attacking people through their feelings. And you can a lot of times tell because somebody says, well, I feel that this is a difficult thing, or I feel. And the thing is, when you watch the news, their entire goal is to scare you. It's actually their mission is to scare you, because fear is the feeling that motivates people the most to do things like watch them so you make sure you know. So if you find yourself saying, you know, I try to not watch it, but I just really need to know, then you're being manipulated.
mm-hmm.
Well, and here's something, you know.
So not watching it, the world that you see is a lot different than the world that they tell you should be seeing.
Okay, and sometimes, you know, has to do with you. I'm going to talk about you. But you have to have a reality check sometimes, you know. And Mike was having issues with his knees. And his knees were bothering him and all of this stuff. And he'd been to the doctor and been to the doctor and been to the doctor. And tell them what the one doctor told you about the truck and the tires.
Oh yeah, actually, I was pretty impressed. This doctor said, well, although it turned out he was right, but not in the same way. He said, well, you know, if you take a pickup and you put a load of things in it that's meant for a dump truck, then the pickup has problems and the wheels are going to bulge and it's not going to run very well. And I was like, wow, are you telling me I'm fat? And he said, well, and I said, no, it's fine. I said, I think it's a doctor's job. You're just the first one that's told me that in 30 years. Mm-hmm. And so
But that's the problem. People don't tell people the truth now.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not being kind. I mean, you don't want to be mean to people.
No,
but like
you can do it in love.
If somebody's your friend or your close family member, again, even then you don't want to be mean to people. But it's not loving them to encourage the things that are hurting them.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to hurt their feelings. Now, it might be that this isn't the time to just come and say something to somebody. Like, that's not necessarily nice either, or right either. But the thing is, it's if you actually take proactive steps to encourage them in things you know are harming them because you're trying to be nice, that's not good. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. But I was kind of pleased that the doctor told me that, and it did lead me to make changes, although I need to go back to those changes. So.
Well, and that's just it. I'm not trying to make, you know, light of any of this. I totally understand that things are going on and all of that, but you have to just get a grip. You know, I mean, really, sometimes you just have to get a grip and just tell yourself, you know what? I'm not going to watch the news. I'm not going to listen to this. I'm going to do what I can. When we got that thing going around, I started shoveling that vitamin that's in milk down us and that berry that's kind of old down us and not giving medical advice. And we didn't have any issues that were horrible. I had breathing issues for probably 9 months. but I have a compromised immune system. The rest of the family, they were sick for a couple of days and they got over it.
But I think it's like you said, what frustrates me more than anything is people have lost their children, their spouses, loved ones to drunk drivers for years now. Just almost as many as what we're losing now to this stuff. And yet nobody's fought to stop drinking.
To stop alcohol.
Yeah.
Alcohol's still being sold.
Yeah. And that's what frustrates me. It's like a double standard type thing, you know. And so that's where I get frustrated is, yes, I know a lot of people have lost loved ones, and it is hard. But the thing is, people have loved ones die from, like Tara said, the diabetes, the different types of things from being overweight, and stuff like that. But the world doesn't stop because of that. And so it's just like something, this has gotten blown out of proportion for what was really happening, you know. And I had a friend once say, well, it's just everybody has it. And it's just so every place. And, you know, I thought about, I'm a history buff. And I remember reading the flu of, what was it, 1917 or something like that.
1918.
18, you know, around there. And they had bodies piled in the streets. They had bodies piled in the streets. Now, in some countries, I know it's even worse, and this is happening. And if I lived there, I would be more concerned. But there's people here in America that are reacting like there's bodies piled in the streets. And that, you know, and they're that at that fear level. What good is that? You know, you can't live like that all the time, and you're overreacting to something that's not existing for where you're at. And so you've got to be kind of careful of these things. Fear, people are dealing with life now on their emotions, with nothing but their emotions, and they don't think straight. When you have fear, when you have anger and stuff like that, you cannot do rational thinking. And so everybody is reacting in a horrible way because they're reacting on nothing but their emotions, and they can't think straight, and they're doing illogical things that don't make sense and making other people do things that don't make sense because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody asked, what's that berry that's old? Well, ask your elders which berry it might be. But I'm not saying that's medical advice. I'm just saying from what I know about building your immune system, because I have a compromised immune system, that stuff like that helps. So I do what I can.
You wash your hands, you know, but I've always done that with the flu season or anything.
But you know what? It really chapped my hide today when Mike and I went to Montana and we stopped to use the restroom on the reservation because the reservation has different, not laws, but I guess mandates, whatever you want to call it, than other people. And they were very insistent on having a mask. We didn't argue about it. We were fine. We just took the mask, put it on, went to use the restroom, but the restroom was filthy. Okay, so let's think about this. I put on a mask, but I go into a bathroom that is filthy. What else am I going to catch in this bathroom? Even if I wash my hands, what are you breathing in that bathroom? You know, and so it's fine. They can mandate whatever they want. That's their land. That's fine. But it doesn't make any sense to be mandating that, but then you go into a bathroom that's filthy.
That you have to touch stuff when you go into a bathroom, and you're going to get that stuff on you somehow.
So anyway, it's called having common sense, which most people don't have anymore, unfortunately, which is why we're in the situation in this country that we're in at the moment. So.
Did you see Ellen's comment on YouTube?
No.
Get with God and your fear will,
Ellen says, get with God and your fear will go away. Yeah.
It doesn't mean you'll never be afraid of anything. It just means that fear won't dominate your life.
If you continue in that fear.
And we don't let
deal
fear
with it.
dominate our lives. If we're afraid of something, we just do it afraid anyway. But you can't let fear dominate your life, whether it's money, whether it's that thing going around, everything. You can't do that.
You know, really, if you continue in fear, it's really a sin. You know, it really is. It's like Satan has a hold of you. It's like any other thing that we're not, the Bible says we're not supposed to be afraid. It says, fear not, over and over again. And it commands us not to be afraid. So it's like, to me, anything else that God says don't do, if you're doing it against what he says, you know, it's kind of like a sin. And I get, you know, I don't know what else to call it. It's just, you shouldn't do it. And now it's a difference. It's like anything else. If you have thoughts or you have feelings and they happen, we're all going to do that and have those types of things. It's when you dwell on it and you live with it and you just wrap yourself in it. That's when it turns into something wrong.
Wow, that did not go the way I was thinking I was going to go today.
No, we hadn't planned on saying any of this stuff, did we?
You need Jesus. That's all we're going to say.
Well, it's like my doctor told me, and I've said this before. I asked him, like, on the mask, when all this first started happening, I said, you know, what's your opinion on all this? And he said, personally, I wouldn't be wearing a mask if I wasn't a doctor and working here in this clinic. He just smiled at me and he said, you know what? He said, God has total control of my life. And whether I get sick now, whether I die from that illness, it's up to God. And he said, besides that, even if I don't die now from this, he said, the rapture may come. God has control of it all anyway, whether I get sick or die. He said, I'm not worried about it. So you see what he was saying? He wasn't afraid. There was no fear. He's living his life the best that he can, in the best way that he can, without all the fear involved in it, you know. And so, did I say something wrong? You're looking so sober.
No, I'm just deleting comments.
Oh.
Listen, it's totally fine if you guys don't agree with me. I don't really care. But the problem is, we are not a channel of fear. Now, sometimes I'll do titles to get you watching a video like, shelves are empty in 2021. What's going on? But it's only to get you to watch it, to tell you, you need to learn how to cook. So when the shelves are empty, you can still take care of yourself at home. But we aren't going to sit here and tell you the sky is falling when the sky is not falling. It's not. And so anyway, yeah, so that was maybe a little bit more than you guys probably wanted today, but
Sorry, guys.
There you go. Wait a minute. Congress isn't included for the mandate? Oh, that would really tick me off. It's a good thing. Oh boy. Yeah. I need to run for Congress. Maybe I could give Liz Cheney a run for her money. Oh, Tara for Wyoming senator. Is she a senator, right? I can't remember what she is. We've only been here 2 months. All right. Jackie, do you freeze homemade pizza dough? No, but you can. Just put it in the ball and throw it in the freezer if you want. So,
or you can roll it out and freeze it that way too and have it all done.
Oh, she's a representative. Excuse me. I'm sorry. All I know is she needs to be gone. Okay. So, all right. Yes. So anyway, that is where we are.
Listening to us at this point?
Let's see. We have 1,000 people.
Oh,
So apparently
maybe we lost everybody on our.
Yeah. So no, I mean, guys, you just have to
relax.
look at the facts and take it easy.
Try not to be quite so tense about all of it, you know.
Yeah.
I was sitting downstairs last night. My feet were up on a footstool and I had my knitting that I was working on. And it was peaceful and it was quiet. And I had, right before that, I'd gone onto YouTube and all the captions were popping out to me, on the little squares that pop up. And I was getting a little bit, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, all the stuff that was going on those captions. But I put it to one side and I sat there and I got my knitting out and was sitting there knitting. I thought, you know what? Why was I letting that stuff bother me instead of being grateful that here I sit in a nice, comfortable home
With Bambi eating all my flowers.
with Bambi eating my flowers. That's just knitting, I'm so grateful I was where I was at the moment. I don't want to be worrying about, I didn't need to be worrying about anything at that moment, because tomorrow I may have even where bad things happen that I will have to contend with. Why are we worrying about things that aren't happening to us at the moment or in our world right near us at the moment? A year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago now, not quite, my dad died on Christmas Day. I was sitting with him on Christmas Eve, right before he died on Christmas Day. My husband died 4 weeks later.
Ex-husband, for those of you wondering.
And, but I still.
Well, we've had people say, well, I thought Jill wasn't married.
Yeah.
So just so you know.
And, it was within 4 weeks, I lost my dad and my husband, and we had a whole run of things happening. And it was tense and it was hard. But if I hadn't been relaxed months before, weeks before, like I'm relaxed now, I wouldn't have been able to cope with the stuff that was happening then. Why do you worry about the stuff that hasn't happened yet? Do the best you can, use precautions, just be careful. But you're going to have enough to deal with in life that if you spend all your good times worrying about things that aren't happening yet to you, you're not going to be able to cope when the crisis comes up. You have to.
Yeah, and stop making a crisis out of things that aren't crisis.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I'm saying.
Worrying
about things that aren't happening in your world yet.
John Trust says, great topic. Thanks for the super chat.
See what Stephanie says?
Stephanie, no, I didn't
On
see.
Facebook? She says, I got a loud meowing furball that's demanding attention, and that distracts me from the news.
Has a loud
Yeah.
meowing furball and demanding attention that distracts you from the news. See, there you go, Stephanie.
That's the way to go.
Oh, brother. Yeah, the whole thing just doesn't make sense, and so that's where you have to use common sense, and that's where the majority of people have lost it with this whole thing going around, is if this was actually, okay, I know I'm going back on this, but I'm sorry. But if this was actually an issue, why are American workers being mandated to take that thing, to prevent that thing, when people coming across the border are just welcome to come in fine?
And they don't have to take it.
Why is it my body, my choice when you're going to go murder your baby, but it's not my body, my choice when you have to go get that thing, get rid of that thing? That's where common sense has to come in and play, and you have to look at it from the truth. But the problem is, because people feed on the news all the time and all
Fear.
day long and are feeding that fear all day long, they lose their common sense and their ability to make good, sound judgments on things. And that is exactly what has happened in the last year and a half.
And that same fear is causing more people to commit suicide, to have mental breakdowns. Older people that have been isolated from their loved ones have just died, faded away because of lack of people caring for them, And those things are all happening because of that fear. So which is worse, losing somebody because they got this thing, or losing somebody because of everybody else's fear that's happening,
Yeah.
Life happens, and we've just got to be as careful as you can, but it's the fear that's really doing more damage than
So that's
many things.
what we're trying to say is
Get rid of the fear.
get rid of the fear.
Be grateful for what you do have, where you're at right now in
Yeah.
your life.
Wow.
What happened?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to just go on a tangent, but I can't help it. My mouth just starts going and I can't stop it.
And I can kick you under the table and it doesn't help. And Mike's throwing things at you.
I still think you should put that plaque back up.
Teresa says they can't handle the truth. That's the truth. Mike says I should put my dear Lord, please help me to keep my big mouth shut.
Well, you know, one thing about Tara, she
Mom and Mike
cares.
are nice.
She cares about people. And we have so many people that are tickling other people's ears. They're saying what people want to hear. They're saying things like, oh, you poor thing, blah, blah, blah. This, it's not that we don't have sympathy. You need to have empathy with people. The difference is sympathy, you just do tell people, oh, I feel so sorry for you.
But they've never lived through it. We have actually lived through it, so we actually have.
But it doesn't help them with anything. Empathy is when you understand what they're going through, but you give them options. You show them what they need to change in their life to get better or make things better. And so stop having sympathy with people and have more empathy. You've got to have practical stuff to help people change.
And one last question. Hope this doesn't get too far down the trail. Deborah says, should we be stocking food? Yes, but you should just for normal, everyday emergencies. So, well, maybe not for a flood, but, you should be having a stockpile of food at least a couple of months so that you can take care of yourself if you got that thing going around. I don't know how many viewers have emailed us and said, thank you, Tara, for telling us to stockpile food. My whole entire family got sick, but we were able to make it through that illness because we had food on hand and we didn't have to go to the store. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Tara. My husband got laid off for 6 months and we had a stockpile, so we were able to survive his job loss without having to pay for groceries. It's not just the end of the world, apocalyptic zombie
thing
stockpiling. It's normal, everyday emergency. When a tornado comes through your town and your house happens to not get hit, but the 3 grocery stores in town do. We know a town in Kansas that literally got wiped away. They couldn't just run and go get groceries, the people that were left. So I know if your house is the one that has a tornado hit, that's going to be gone. I get that. But if your house happens to not be, but your power's all gone, you can't get gas. Mm-hmm. The gas station was gone.
Banks can't open up, so you can't go get money or use ATMs.
So you can make it through and survive if you need to.
Yeah.
So anyway, Lisa wants me to slap the table, get it together, people. I can't slap this table very well.
No, it'll shake everything.
Everything else will go shaking. So let's see. I think that is it. Please. If you're still with us, who did? Oh, Graham, thanks.
Thank you.
She loves the honest Tara. I know. I have a love-hate relationship with people. They either love me or they hate me, and that's fine.
Sometimes they hate you, and then they come back and love you later.
Oh, my goodness. I don't know how many people said, well, Tara, you just really ticked me off, and I unsubscribed, and I didn't watch you. And then they said, and then you showed up on my feed again, and I watched you again, and I was still mad at you. So I didn't watch you anymore. But then you showed up again and, well, you're right. So you better believe I'm right. There's no agreeing to disagree. I'm right.
Ask Mike.
Yeah, ask Mike. Okay, 35% off our pre-order sale. The book should be arriving about October 25th. If you've already ordered and we told you September 15th, we are sorry. The books did not come today. I'm very sorry. It was not our fault. It was that thing going around that caused issues with shipping. And I'm very, very sorry, but we still have the pre-order sale for 35% off. We do have gluten-free also for sale. If you need it, order it separate from these two because everything in one order goes together, okay? So if you need gluten-free separate, go ahead and grab that if you need it now. Otherwise, everything ships in the same order. We I think that's all we have to say for tonight. And we will see you guys next week and watch Friday for my Why I Hate My Kitchen video. Yes, I am appreciative of my kitchen. Don't get me wrong. But there are some functional things for the business that just aren't working for the kitchen. So, sometimes you got to fix things that aren't working. So anyway, we will see you guys next time. Living on a Dime.
Bye, guys.
.com.